In 4.3, we have an equation where where the variable is squared and it wants us to solve. So if we have y squared equals 36, how do you undo a second power? Take the square root. When we take the square root, we get y is equal to 6. Is that the only answer? Look at the original question. What number times itself is 36? 6 works. Are there any others? Negative 6. 6 times 6 is 36. And negative 6 times negative 6 is also 36. So whenever you have a variable to the second power and you take the square root, the answer has to have a plus and minus on it because there are two solutions. So y is plus or minus 6. So if we had x squared is equal to 16, and I square root both sides, and when you square root an x squared, you need to put plus or minus on the other side, which gives us x equals plus or minus 4. Okay? And that is something that is going to follow you through all of your math classes, so don't forget that rule. Okay. 5w squared plus 30 equals 120. So I want to solve for w, so I will subtract 30, and that gives me 5w squared equals 90. Now what do I do? Divide by 5, good. And I get w equals 18, or sorry, w squared equals 18. And I square root. But remember, anytime you square root a squared, you need to write plus or minus on the other side. And I get w equals plus or minus the square root of 18. Now, in our last lesson, we learned how to simplify that. But this says, round your solution to the nearest hundredth. So we pull up our calculator, maybe, and I type in the square root of 18. Well, how about I get out of that? Now, the square root of 18. So rounded to the nearest hundredth would be plus or minus 4.24. Okay, can you guys handle that? All right. Next problem. Okay. X squared equals 75. Take the square root, and when you do the square root, you have to put a plus or minus on the right side. So x is equal to plus or minus the square root of 75. And this one says, simplify your answer as much as possible. So this does not want a decimal. Uh-oh, she's on her phone. That hurt your grade. Oh, okay, you're good. Okay, plus or minus the square root of 75. I need to simplify the 75. What goes into 75? Well, 3/4 makes 75. And then the 25 will turn into 5 times 5. So I can cross off those. Can I bring anything out? A set of 5s. So I bring a set of 5s to the outside, plus or minus 5 times the square root of what's left? 3. Now, there's no plus or minus button here, so we have to type them in separately. So our answers would be 5 root 3, comma, negative 5 root 3. Okay? All right. And then the last type. Okay. we need to solve the quantity u minus 4 squared, u minus 4 squared, minus 18 equals 0. So we need to figure out what the order this needs to be solved in. So if we look at the u, the first thing to happen to the u is minus 4. The second thing is the squared, and the third thing is the 18. So when we solve this, we're just going to work backwards by adding 18. So u minus 4 squared equals 18. Now what should I do? Now we undo the second power by taking the square root and throw my stylus on the ground. And I get u minus 4 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 18. Everybody follow? Now we add 4. And our two answers are 4 plus root 18 and 4 minus root 18. And then we have to decide, does it want me to simplify the square root or does it want a decimal? You look at the instruction, round to the nearest hundredth. So I'm just going to plug these into my calculator. So 4 plus the square root of 18 is 8.24. And 4 minus the square root of 18 is negative 0.24. That's it. Okay. Get working on